And this is Roy Richards. He is a head football coach at Morton High School. Before we go on to the words of the week and so forth, Roy, why do you teach?
I love kids. I love education. That's why I coach. You know, if you just love the game of football, you can be a fantasy football player. You can get Madden football and play. You get the NFL ticket nowadays. You could go to every game. Coaching football is about the kids and coaching kids, and that's what makes teaching so much fun. If you ask any real teacher, and Morton's got so many of them, they just want to be in the classroom with those kids and get them to learn and get them to prepare themselves.
Obviously we've been talking education, kind of a lot of negative stuff going on, but you were in East Chicago for some time.
Absolutely. You know, I was in the car listening to that lady that was calling. I thought, man, I feel bad coming in talking about football. She's talking about real life. I was there once, and I know I feel her pain. I empathize right there. When I was at East Chicago earlier, Dr. Comer was the superintendent. Man, he was about as good as he's the mold that God made when people come up with superintendents, and guys like that are hard to find. And we're fortunate in Hammond to have a good one in Dr. Watkins. But I understand her pain when they feel like things aren't going the right way. As a teacher, you're really kind of behind the eight ball. You say too much and you're out of a job. You don't say enough, and you feel like education's going in the wrong direction, and you're not able to accomplish the reason why you got into education, and that's not getting done. So hang in there to those people. We sure feel your pain, and we'll say some prayers and hope things go well for you guys.
The Hammond Morton Governors are 4-0 and ranked number 3 in AP this year.
That's right.
This week.
Yep.
3 in AP and 3 in the coaches poll. So one of the top football teams in the state of Indiana. And you've got a big test coming in. You've got a 5A school and one that has always played you tough and has turned into quite a rivalry over the years. The Munster Mustangs come in to Hessville on Friday night. What are you looking for?
Well, it should be great. In fact, it just makes me feel good when you say the 5A team that has always played us tough, where, 4 years ago we were the 4A team that's always played them tough. So things have changed a little bit, but Leroy hasn't too much, and that Munster tradition hasn't too much, and they're going to play a great game, and we're going to have to bring our A game or those guys are going to beat us.
And, of course, across Munster is coming in at 1-3, but they should have beaten Lake Central, to be honest with you. I think I did that game first week, and they were down, and then they came back, and they had Lake Central on the ropes. And Lake Central is now number 11th in the state of Indiana at 5A, and is quite frankly rising and has beaten some very good teams. So Munster almost beat Lake Central. So even though they're at 1-3 and Andrean pushed them around a little bit, they're still a solid football team.
You know what? If you take every team in the region and you have them play Lake Central, Chesterton, and Andrean, most of the teams in the region would have 3 losses. So Munster might be one of the better teams in the state that has 3 losses, and all they need is a win over Morton to get back on their feet. They know it and we know it, so we just got to make sure they can't get it this week.
Now we're also talking. I think we're going to have some coverage out there. Our main game on Friday night is going to be Bishop Knoll and Whiting. Part of that has to do with the fact that we've had Morton on a couple of times, and we've already committed to doing the Morton at Hammond High game the following week. So we would have had you guys on kind of flooding the airwaves. So we're gonna lay off that as our main game. We will have coverage out there. We'll be at Bishop Knoll and Whiting. Roy comes in on a regular basis, and we talk about the words of the week. Explain that to any new listeners, Roy.
Well, you know what? We started this a year ago. We thought, my goodness, how do we improve our education? How does the football team help? How does the athletic department help the English and math teachers teach a little bit? So we thought, well, let's come up with some words. My wife, actually, Vera, thought of this. She got the SAT book list and said, hey, let's at least get these kids prepared for the SAT. I mean, we can only do so much as coaches. The teachers right now are swamped with so much stuff they're doing. So we got the SAT list, and we got 5 words each week off of that list, and we put it on the airways thanks to you guys. And I send it out to the emails to a lot of people, and we put it through the school, and our PE teachers put it up on the hallways and the walls, and we really drill it into our kids. And then we do repeats. So we've got a couple of words this week that we've done last year, and we're trying to continue to drill and drill. We've had some football players that have taken the SAT that have said, I recognize some of those words that really helped us. So obviously, as an educator, that just fuels your fire. You want to continue doing this and do it some more. And I did get somebody from Hammond High last week email me and say, please send it to us, and then maybe we can have some type of little competition. I thought that was great, so I told her if there's any words that they're teaching over at Hammond that they'd like at Morton, shoot me some of those words, and I'll throw them in the words of the week. I'd like for the other schools to do it too. That way we can just kind of do a region words of the week. We could all teach education together.
All right, let's go through the words right now.
The first word is a repeat, and the reason why I'm saying is we had a young man, Isai Rosales, that did move away back to Texas, but he mispronounced this on your show last year, and you had to correct him. So I thought, heck, why not do it again? If we can't pronounce it right, maybe the community can. The word is coerce, C-O-E-R-C-E, coerce, and it's to use force or intimidation to get results. The definition was the class bully coerced Keith into writing his research paper for him. The second word is gullible, easily deceived or cheated. Angel is so gullible, we convinced him that if he made 10 tackles for this week in the game, the Colts would call him up so he could play in the NFL. The third word is evasive, and the key word here is an intentionally vague, not just vague. Last year we had a word nebulous, which meant vague. This is evasive, which is intentionally vague or ambiguous. We can always tell when Brock is lying. His answers become very evasive and shifty. And the fourth word is erroneous, just like the word error, containing an error or incorrect. The sentence, you would be erroneous to think that our region has forgotten what our veterans mean to our country. And the last one is inevitable, and this was a repeat from last year. The definition is necessary, unavoidable, unavailable to be avoided, has to happen. The definition, if you are going to succeed in life, it is inevitable.
Let's look at some of the football games coming up here on Friday night. Roy, well, you were right on about, you said Lake Central was going to be tough for Crown Point. Traditionally, it's been the other way around, but you kind of sense what was going on there.
Yeah, I think all of us kind of feel what each other has and the progression that they're all making. Lake Central is taking huge strides. You kind of said it a few minutes ago. Munster gave them a great game in week 1. I think there are teams out there in week 1 and 2 that are pretty vanilla, pretty basic, working on stuff that start getting better and opening up their stride as the season goes on. Lake Central is certainly one of those teams.
Now, Lake Central at 4-0, and I don't have it in front of me. I think they go out to LaPorte this weekend, and then they come back from Michigan City. I mean, typically by this time they've got a couple losses already, and they're moving along. Let's talk about your Andrean 49ers. They have Hobart this weekend. They came into Munster, a lot of people looking for a big game on that, and Andrean kind of jumped out early and kind of controlled that game on the line of scrimmage. I went out there and stood on the sidelines for a little while. Didn't realize that Andrean was so big on the line.
They're a big physical team, and I said that last week when we did some work with a lot of teams this summer, and they were by far the most physical team up front, them and Chesterton, and obviously both of those teams are doing very well, and we could kind of call that. Andrean's not going to go away. On defense up front, if you're not really good at throwing the ball and spreading them out, you're going to have a really hard time moving the football. And Munster played a really good game. They just made some mistakes in their territory to give Andrean some scores to kind of give them momentum, but which concerns us that Munster played them so well. But we really feel like Andrean up front on both sides is probably the best team we've seen.
BNI Whiting this weekend, and quite frankly, there's a lot of rivalries around, but this one can get sticky on it's gotten sticky on the basketball. Last year was really kind of got out of hand, and Knoll has improved. Whiting has owned this for a while. Can Knoll give him a game?
They can give him a game. The thing about Jeff Kane at Whiting, he's so crafty and does such a great job of isolating and getting matchups. I think Bishop Noll's got a pretty decent group, but I don't know if they can match Whiting's ability to spread them out and isolate some matchups. So I think I'm going to go with Whiting again on this one.
All right, there you go. Roy Richards, thanks a lot for coming in. He's on his way over to Morton. They will be hosting the Munster Mustangs. Now, are you going to be doing the deal with the veterans again?
You know, that's one thing I'd like to say. We are, and I know some people probably figure we were just doing it the first couple of weeks. We're doing it again. We do have one veteran. We'd certainly like to have more. We're also doing a little special ceremony with the police and fire beforehand with the color guards and all that stuff. So we certainly want to make this a great event, and we don't want to forget our veterans and get lost in that. With this being 9/11 week, we certainly think it's more and more important for us to honor the people that have helped us be where we are today. So please let me know if you'd like to show up. We'd love to put you out there. Had a great conversation with the Munster coaches. We talked about the veterans. We talked about the war memorial that's over there in Munster, and lots of good things in our area that are giving great tribute to those people. So we'd like to bring them out again. So please let me know you'd like to come, and I'll put you on the program.
Yeah, once again, if you are a veteran, they do a little ceremony beforehand. And you're still doing the $7 thing?
Yes, still doing the $7 thing, and we're really putting a lot of money into the American Legion. So we're proud of that. We're proud of our American Legion for helping us out, and we want to continue doing this.
What it is $7 to get in. 2 of it will go to the local veterans, and they're bringing that to Morton at all of the home games this year.
That's correct, and we're trying to find families that are sending people over right now to see if we can't locate those families. And thank you for the American Legion doing that. They're looking them up. We're going to divvy up the money and give it out to them. So we want to honor the people that have served, and we want to help the ones that are helping us right now.
Roy Richards, thanks a lot for coming in.
Thank you, guys. Have a great week.